We're on our trip of adaptation and flowering plants. Again, the angiosperms is what we're talking about. And we saw the jack-in-the-pulpit and the dandelion. This is columbine, and many of you have seen them. You might call it honeysuckle. But these little tips are just full of nectar. And this is going to be a flower that will invite an animal with a long tongue. Like some of the butterflies, maybe even a hummingbird will feed off of this. And there's a lot of nectar down below. Definitely an insect-driven pollination flower, the columbine. Such a wide variety of flowers as we move along. So let's go to the next one. Here, right here. See this bright yellow? This is buttercup. Beautiful little yellow flower. There's my finger. You can see kind of the size of it. Okay, and much shallower than the last one we looked at, the columbine, right? And invites a little different type of insect to fertilize and cross-pollinate. And these flowers have changed and adapted and are able to move into areas that have different pollinators and live in different environments. And such a wide variety of plants in the angiosperms because they can cross-pollinate and spread their genes and adapt much better than all the other groups of plants. Okay, let's move on. More variety. Here we are. The sun is setting. It's getting kind of dusky here tonight. I can hear the birds singing. But down deep are flowers. These are not as conspicuous, are they? But yet they're brightly colored. They're down hiding under all these thimbleberries. Pink pyrola. And beautiful little pink flower, cupped and hanging down too. It invites another pollinator. And they all have their own set of pollinators. And it depends on where they are, how far off the ground, what they're under, what habitat they're living in, what insects are available, and they have adapted to attract whatever is going to be the most efficient at cross-pollinating these. And this is pink pyrola. We're on our last flower here, a close cousin of Minnesota state flower. Our state flower is the showy lady slipper. This is a yellow lady slipper. And a beautiful, it's in the orchid family, and we found a little patch here. And we're going to end up with just a gorgeous flower here. Another adaptation to insect pollination. Again, it takes advantage of a different set of insects, and you can see it's absolutely a slipper. It's a beautiful yellow lady slipper. Here are the laces right here. And I can even pull it onto your foot with this little shoehorn in the back. But look at the variety that we have in this such a successful group of plants. The most advanced of all, remember, they have all three characteristics of plants. There's cellulose in the cell walls, they're eukaryotic cell walls, and they photosynthesize. And they have vascular tissue so they can grow tall. And they also have developed the seed, and not only that, it's a covered seed, and this will turn into a fruit, a covered seed in the future. Over here too, one last thing I forgot, we're looking at flowers on the ground, but this birch tree is an angiosperm too, and maple trees, birch trees, oak trees, they all have flowers, beautiful little flowers that in fact, we'll show you the teeniest flower known to man on the planet. That'll be our next flower. But this, you can't remember that this is an angiosperm. This tree next to it is a gymnosperm, isn't it? So we have spruce and birch. This has naked seeds. The birch tree also has flowers. And in the spring, they send pollen, and they have little teeny flowers up there. And here's an interesting thing. This is a tree that is adapted to fire. And that this birch bark here is flammable for a reason. This tree is adapted to withstand small fires, little ground fires, and it'll eliminate some of the competition. This is a young birch tree, and most people don't know that young birches are red and the adults are white. So these are two that have come from the same place. And this is a vegetative reproduction of this tree. Let's go look at the smallest flower on the planet next. Bye. Well, here I'm coming from some wetlands again, and I have another really interesting angiosperm, and they're floating at the top. This is the same beaker I used to gather algae way at the beginning of this little plant show we're doing. And I'm going to pull out one entire plant of an angiosperm. It's called duckweed. And you see, it's a little green, they look like little teeny green lily pads floating at the top, and you can see little roots hanging down. Some of these don't even have roots. But this is a true flowering plant. It can reproduce without flowers. It can just bud and grow new of itself, but it also can use and does use flowers. And here is one of the plants, and I'm going to put it on my hand so you can see it. And that's, you can see what is the little, it looks like a leaf. It's actually a modified stem.
Just hold still.
Okay. And there's a little root hanging from it. Can you see that now? That's an entire plant. And the flower, a close relative of this little duckweed here, is another type of duckweed, just another little different species. And it has the smallest flower on the planet. It's about 3/10 of a millimeter, which is around 1/100 of an inch or so. It's a teeny little flower. A flower nevertheless. So here we go. Our great collection of angiosperms, and that's why today they're the king of the plant group. They have figured out how to live almost everywhere on this planet. We'll see ya.